Yo, bendición, what up, everybody? Your favorite conquistador back with another video. So, I hope you guys already saw my last video. I don't know if Santero is legit. There's a part 1 and a part 2. Part 1, questions to ask so you can verify whether a person is legitimate or not. And just, little simple things to see if your ceremony is being done correctly, or, nothing in too much detail, but little things like if a Babalawo says he's going to crown you, run. If a Babalawo says that he's going to give you necklaces, run. If a Santero or Santera comes to you and says she's going to crown you, and it's just her and her husband, or like friggin' 5 people in the room, and that's it, in her house, run. Little things like that. Part 2 is running off with the same idea, saying that, okay, you got to the point where you found yourself a legitimate priest or priestess or a legitimate person. It has nothing to do with who they are as a person. Just because someone is crowned Ochun, the Orisha of love, they can be the most hateful person. Just because someone is crowned Jemaya, who's the definition of motherly love, they could be a spiteful broad. Just because someone is crowned Obatala, the Orisha of peace and tranquility, they could be a freaking conniving drug addict. What a person has on their head has nothing to do with what they have on their heart, okay? And I say all that with all respect and love. The legitimate Santeros that are watching this, they know that I'm only speaking truth. Shout out to Asiel Oni, or Asiel Baez Oniade. God bless you, dude. Incredible videos. If you haven't seen his videos, it's incredible. Shout out to Janet Leti Ochun Leti. Shout out to Ali Onilade. So I'm not saying anything that people would not, that legitimate people, respected individuals in the faith, would not agree with. Who you have on your head has nothing to do with what you have in your heart. You decide what you have in your heart. Having Ochun crown isn't going to make you this incredibly loving person and everything's sunshine and rainbows. You can still be a bitch and have Ochun on your head. I hope you're an Ochun that is loving and is kind and does exude that Ochun love. But we're all human beings, we can't all be sunshine and roses all the damn time, Even the Orishas have those vueltas, and the Loa have those vueltas where they're friggin' empetrosados. Okay, so this I just want to do a video on. I wrote down just a note here. Okay, so I saw a video of a lady who was, dang, why is this thing not staying lit, bro? I'm trying to stay lit, right? Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Okay. So, there was a lady, no puyas, I'm not gonna say no name, but a lady who got a Babalawo for a husband, who crowned her. I'm just gonna let that sit there. Who said before that the first step when you get involved in these traditions is to go to a Babalawo and see what it is you gotta do. So prior to getting scratched, go to a Babalawo. Prior to getting scratched in Palo, go to a Babalawo. Because you don't know, maybe you got scratched in Palo, but when you go to Ifa, it says that you weren't meant to be scratched in Palo. I understand the logic she's coming from. If you're, ignorant. Damn, I look like such a woman when I don't got no freaking hair on my face. Jesus Christ. I look like my freaking sister, yo. Although I spoke to my sister yesterday, and I said, without no hair on my face, my nose looked 10 times better. I got a freaking Árabe Taino looking nose. I told my sister, I said, yo, if you had my nose on your face, you'd be ugly. We all gotta laugh. So, I'm just gonna speak my truth. Everything's always my opinion. This entire channel is my opinion. I will never say that I know everything. I ain't no Oba Oriate, and even if I was, I'd say this is just my views. If you disagree, then disagree. But what that lady says is a bunch of bullshit. If you need to find out whether you're meant to be scratched in palo or rayado in palo, you don't go to a babalawo to find out whether you're meant to be scratched in palo. Why? Because Ifa has nothing to do with Palo. Palo has nothing to do with Ifa. Ocha has nothing to do with Palo. Palo has nothing to do with Espiritismo. Espiritismo has nothing to do with voodoo. You know, I mean, granted, you may have, you know, some muertos or whatever that were involved in Ocha or voodoo, whatever. But I mean, you don't go to a Babalawo to find out what you need to do in Palo. And inversely, you don't go to a Palero to find out if you should receive your Mano de Orula, to receive anything in Ifa. They are two separate traditions, and there's always this, I don't know much about it, but I know there's like a old standing war between Palo and Ifa. I don't know. I think it's like old dudes of it. I don't freaking know. And please don't get it twisted. You know, when I mention Babalaos and Ocha and whatnot, you know, Mafere fun Ifa, Mafere fun Orumila. You know what Orumila says. Well, what's that? A quote. Orumila's word does not touch the floor, or Orumila's word never hits the ground. It's like a saying in Spanish. You know, Ifa is, it's beautiful. It's divination systems, it's knowledge. You know, the Babalaos are the storytellers of the Yoruba faith, and they play a very beautiful role. But they play a role within their lane. They are Yoruba. Palo is Congo. Palo is Bantu. You know, two different lineages, two different practices, two different separate traditions. So when this lady said to go to a Babalawo before getting scratched, nope. You want to know whether you're meant to be scratched in Palo? Go to a Palero. You want to know whether you need to receive your Mano de Orula? Go to a Babalawo. You need to know whether you're meant to be crowned? Go to a Babalawo. Or if you need to know whether you're meant to be, receive your Mano de Orula or your anything that has to do with Ocha, go to a Santero who can throw the Dilogun. You know, even in the Dilogun, it would say, do you have your Mano de Orula? No? Okay, well here, dice Elegua in the Dilogun, in the shells, that you need to go to Orumila to get your Mano de Orula. You know, or an inexperienced caracolero, a person who reads the shells. I think like at 12, if a person's inexperienced, the Odu, up to 12, they read, and then if it's any more than 12, if it's 13, 14, 15, 16, they say it's in the hands of Urumila, and they'd have to take you to a Babalawo to find out your answer at the foot of Ifa. Because it's out of Elegua's hands. It's something on Elegua's saying, this is too high. You got to go to Ifa. So Ocha will lead you to Ifa if that's what you're meant to do. Hold on. Okay, I just had to pause the video real quick because I had to sneeze, and I did not want that on camera because that's embarrassing. So yeah. I don't know why that lady, well, I think I know why, because her husband happens to be a Babalawo, and so, by guiding everybody, oh yeah, you need to find out what you got to do in Palo, go to Babalawo. My husband happens to be one. Come here, give us your money. There's nothing wrong with guiding people, because I'd be a hypocrite. I've done the same thing. Hey, my girlfriend, she's an espiritista. She's an incredible espiritista, traditional Puerto Rican. And you want a reading, you want a misa, go to her. Shameless plug. There's nothing wrong with guiding people and saying, hey, I happen to know somebody that has a beautiful gift. And if you need her services, here's the link, whatever. But I would never say, oh, you want to find out whether you should receive your warriors? Should you receive your Elegua Uno Chosi Osun? Or should you receive your Mano de Orula? Well, you know what? My girlfriend's an espiritista. She can give you the answers you seek and tell you if you need to receive your Elegua. That's where I cross the line, because that's a bunch of bullshit. You don't go to an espiritista to find out whether you should receive your Elegua. You go to a santero to find out whether you should receive your Elegua, because they're different traditions. Granted, it may come out in an espiritismo reading, hey, I think you would benefit from having an Elegua. It would benefit you to get crowned. It would benefit you to whatever. Or Ocha is definitely your path, or Ifa is definitely your path, or Palo, you should get scratched. It may come up in espiritismo reading, but the word of that espiritista concerning that specific thing about you receiving your Elegua or getting scratched is not the end all be all, because you have to go at the foot of the ganga if it's Palo. You have to go at the foot of Elegua if it's a Dilogun, or at the foot of Ifa if it's a Babalawo, to find out, hey, yo, an espiritista told me that I would benefit from having my warriors. Well, let's see what Elegua has to say. Because if Elegua agrees, then hell yeah, okay, let's do my warriors. Or yeah, let me get scratched. Or it can say, no, Maferefun Elegua or Lucy por eso to what the espiritista said. Pero Elegua is saying, he's defending you right now, but there's no need to receive him yet. For you just to do an ebo with him. Or give him a rooster to open your roads, but there's no need to receive him right now. That's completely feasible. It may come out in a Palo reading that it would benefit you maybe to get involved in Ocha, or vice versa, because there's odus and letters in both sides that speak of these other traditions. There's odus of Ocha that says, oh, maybe you would benefit from getting scratched in Palo. But before you can actually get involved in Palo or Ocha, you have to get a reading from that specific tradition. So you don't go to a palero to find out whether you need Mano de Orula, and you don't go to a Babalawo to find out whether you need to be scratched. They are two separate traditions. Okay? That's the whole moral of this story, If you want to find out whether you should be a part of a tradition, you go to a legitimate priest or priestess of that tradition. Palo, Ocha, Ifa, Voodoo, 21 divisions, Sanse, Maria Leonza, La Santísima Muerte, whatever, Obea, whatever the hell else exists, there's so many. And get a reading. If you want to find out if you're meant to be initiated in 21 divisions or be a part of that, if you feel like you got misterios walking with you, well then don't go to a santero to find out if you should get baptized in the 21 divisions. Seek out a boko or a mambo who's in the 21 divisions and ask them how much it is to have a reading, and then you to bring down the misterio themselves and allow the misterio to talk to you one-on-one. Okay, I hope I'm making sense, guys. You don't go to one tradition to find out whether you need to receive or do anything in another tradition. It may pop up without you asking that, it would be beneficial for you to receive Mano de Orula and Ifa, or it would be beneficial for you to get whatever. But to be seeking concrete answers, no. You want to know about Ifa, you go to Ifa. You want to know about Ocha, you go to Ocha. You want to know about Palo, you go to Palo. And another thing, you don't find out who your guardian Orisha is from a palero. You don't find out who walks with you. You don't find out who walks with you in Palo through a santero. If a santero's throwing caracoles and he says, it says here that Siete Rayo walks strong with you. ¿Qué Siete Rayo? There's no such thing as Siete Rayo in Ocha. You mean Chango? If we're talking Chango, okay. Pero Siete Rayo es Palo. Sarabanda es Palo. Mamacholaweye es Palo. So, people be getting their guardian angels dropped. It came out in a tarot reading that my crown is Ochun. I love Ochun. Everybody loves Ochun. That's my babe. That's my mama. Ochun. Who happens to be Olofi's favorite. In like a card reading. A tarot reader told me that Ochun walks with me. What? And I know in one of the comments, I'll do a separate video on that because I have someone who asked me about Babalawo bringing down guardian angels and stuff. So I'm gonna do a video on that next. But yeah. So moral of the story is, you don't go to Babalawo to find out what you need to do concerning Palo, and you don't go to a palero to find out what you need to do concerning Orisha. They're separate traditions. Each has their own lane. They acknowledge each other. They know about each other. Some things may intersect. Is it a coincidence that Lucero and Elegua are both spirits that happen to open your roads? Well, so does Ganesh. Is it a coincidence that Loki is a trickster and a shapeshifter, and Elegua is a trickster, and Echu is a trickster? Is it a coincidence that Obatala is the head of heads and he's always got a big old white beard, and Odin has a big old white beard for the Vikings, and Babalawo has a big old white beard in Haitian voodoo? There may be similarities, guys, but they are all their own tradition with their own lineage. Voodoo comes from the Dahomey. Orisha comes from the Yoruba. And then if you want to break it down even more, you have the Lukumi. You have the Arara. And then there's more than that. And then you have Palo. And then you have Palo that comes from the Congo. That comes from the Mandinga. That comes from the Bantu. And you break it down, okay, now you got Palo Monte. You got Palo Briuma. You got Palo Mayombe. You got Palo Quimbisa. And you have Espiritismo. You have Espiritismo Cruzado. You have Espiritismo Criollo. There's lines, okay? And though there may be similarities, and they acknowledge each other, they know about each other, but they don't intersect, where people are calling Elegua Papa Legba and calling Papa Legba Elegua. Papa Legba, Elegua, Lucero. They may have similarities. They open your roads. Yes, they're the first ones that you're to acknowledge. But Papa Legba is not Elegua. Elegua is not Lucero. Lucero is not Papa Legba. They have their own lines, their own traditions, their own protocols of how to honor them, how to give them proper respects. Okay, they don't all live on the same altar. I'm just going to keep going and going and going. I'm sorry. Just when I get into it, I get into it, okay? So, bendición, and thank you for watching, guys. Peace out.